Yes, I see you.
John might be able to. I can't. All right.
Johnny,
That
quick,
just
can you see me?
Yes, I see you.
Okay.
that's
Coleman,
me mentally not wanting to see you.
obviously. But go ahead and tell us how you doing. That's that raggedy apple
Yo,
phone that you own.
ain't that something? Ain't that something? You gonna make Apple sue Samsung again for violation? No, man, I'm doing great, bro. I was a little depressed this weekend because the Chiefs lost to the Indianapolis Colts, but I quickly found my spirits, man. I'm back on top, so I'm good, bro. I'm good. How you doing,
You tend to bounce back pretty quickly
man?
from
I
most
try
things.
to.
Yeah,
You
you're
said for most
resilient.
things.
You're resilient. All right, and LV will be joining us shortly. Coming up on the show today, we have today's perspective, and it is: what is your definition and application of the word bitch? Who and what is a bitch? And more importantly, can we actually call somebody that? So we're going to get to that in a little bit. For our viewers, if you have any thoughts on that, any comments, please hit us up in the chat on here, on YouTube, on Facebook, and we will get to your comments. But that's what's coming up shortly under today's perspective. Before we can get to that, we need to deal with the good, the bad, and the ridiculous. Johnny Quick, I want to thank you because I was having trouble coming up with something for the good, bad, and ridiculous for today. And y'all always manage to find something insane for the good, the bad, and the ridiculous. I don't know how y'all find this crap, but
Well, I can't take credit for it. It was LV for this one.
LV found this? Okay. A
Yeah.
man, a New Jersey man by the name of Dean Eichler, was caught on camera urinating on his dead wife's grave. Uh, his wife, her name Linda Torello. This not only was his dead wife, but they parted ways about 48 years ago. Were only married for a year. Uh,
The
he
hate
left
is
her
strong.
after she got pregnant. What'd you say, John?
I said the hate is strong.
Clearly.
Yeah, it
Uh,
lives on.
he left her when she got pregnant. He was denying paternity. It turned out that the baby was his. And so he has a daughter who now has to live with the knowledge that her father was urinating on her mother's grave. This fool was showing up every day and urinating on the grave. One of the sons caught it on videotape. He was leaving feces by her grave site. Uh, and yeah, on a daily basis, while his current wife was sitting in the car. I doubt that she knew what he was doing. I'm gonna give the
Maybe she
benefit of the doubt.
did.
You see,
Hmm.
Gerald in denial. You Captain
Yes.
Save a hoe, boy.
Right. Right. She knew.
Yeah, you
Hell
don't go
yeah, that
piss on
bitch knew
some.
what was going on. What's going on, bros? Oh, I got
LV's here.
I heard him do that shit. I had to come and interject.
Oh my God.
Man,
Hell yeah, that bitch knew what he was doing.
see,
Oh.
Laverial has
It's
found a
just
proper use for the
oh,
word.
and hold on a minute. He's ready for us to get to the segment on a bitch.
Right. He
Hey,
hasn't.
I just,
He
Oh,
hey, I
to
just
turn
walked
his
in the
camera
door.
on.
Hey, I just walked in the door. Give me 5 more minutes. You know, this is the life
oh,
of a single dad. Just picked the
Your
dog up.
timing,
I'll be right.
LV, your
shut up.
timing was perfect. Hold on a minute. I know we haven't gotten to that segment yet. I was just giving this woman the benefit of the doubt. But if she knew her husband was going up there pissing on this woman's grave, well, LV's right. She is a bitch if she knew. But I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt because I can understand why a man would hide that from his current wife.
Okay,
But I'm
first of
He
all,
brought her along.
first of all, you pull up to a grave site. When you have questions, first of all, why are we in this grave site? Why do you keep bringing me out to this grave site day after day after day? If she didn't know something was up, she was stuck on stupid because I'm just
John,
not going to ride to a grave site day after day, oblivious to what you're doing.
John, he's driving around with baggies of shit in him.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, there's a lot of things leading up to it.
I mean, at some point, you got to be like, yo, what stinks? Why every day? Why we riding around with baggies of shit? What are you doing, dog? I mean, at some
Right?
point, that has to be a question.
And he talking about, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. No, you're giving her the benefit of being dumb or stupid.
Just like he was talking about that woman in the movie last week didn't know her husband was doing me, and I'm like, dog,
Right.
he can't look her in the face and make love to her. He tells her to turn around.
Right.
See,
the reason
Captain Save
why.
Hoes is killing America. I'm telling you.
Okay, wait.
Put
The
your
reason
cable away.
why. The reason why I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt that she's not a bitch is because who would imagine that their husband, who would imagine that somebody's literally pissing on someone's grave? This is an old saying that nobody actually does.
Sure,
Nobody does that.
sure, she's married to him. She know he fine. She's not
That
surprised he's
foul,
pissing and shitting on people. She just trying to outlive him so he don't piss and shit on her grave.
Right.
this is a level of foulness that it's crazy if she knew what he was doing and she's going with him every day.
Listen, this is the epitome of ride and die. Ride or die. They probably play Nuck While You Buck every day on the way to the cemetery.
Right.
While he
This
drinking
is
his 40, getting ready to go piss on his ex-wife's grave.
right.
Man,
Right.
my
It's
only
pee
thing
or
is we
crap.
don't know what.
It's not ride or die. It's pee or crap. What do we do?
You know what I'm saying? He really didn't know what he was getting into. Like, because I told y'all on that show before and I got backlash when I said I'd have put somebody mama ashes in the wind. You know. We don't know what she did to him to make him piss on her grave. You know.
This is 1,000 times worse.
But my
Could've pissed on
question
her
is,
grave.
how would this be handled in therapy? If someone came to Gerald and said, JP came and said, I got this addiction with peeing on my ex-wife's grave. How do I get past this?
Gerald probably told him to go piss on it because he gonna piss on Kevin Samuel's grave.
Actually,
That's exactly what I thought about when I seen that. That's the shit he would do. Kevin Samuels, Bill Cosby when he gone, R. Kelly when he gone.
I hate dead people.
listen,
Gerald said, if you ain't strong enough to keep living, I can piss on your grave.
I am not that mean. That's mean.
Oh, that's me. That's the jump off point. That's me.
I am going to present a therapeutic perspective on this, but y'all jumped on this so fast. Y'all didn't answer if you think it's good, bad, or ridiculous.
Well, they didn't complete the story. Now, if her grass, like if the ex-wife's grass was like nice and green because of that steady watering, and
No,
it
some of
was
the grass
looking,
died. He had the son had to replace some of the grass. It was dying.
oh, he had that bad piss. He's probably a crackhead too.
But
Yeah, that
hey,
make it
what I
bad.
want to know
That make
was
it
that
bad.
dog shit or was that human feces that he was putting on her grave? Because that shit was in a bag. How you gonna ride around in the car with a Ziploc full of shit?
And remember, Gerald said the wife didn't know, even though he was riding around with his
Yeah,
baby.
so she don't see all the shit.
That's what Gerald said.
We don't see him
That's
get
what
out the
Gerald
car with that bag of shit.
Now you can't ask me, bro. That's what Gerald said. That's what JP said.
Okay, here is another reason why I was giving her the benefit of the doubt that she is not a bitch along with him, because he's a bitch for doing that, is because, and Johnny Quick was just asking, how would this be addressed in therapy? Here's the clinical perspective on this. People think that the only time people get stuck someplace, stuck in a moment, is clients or patients who have PTSD. But the truth of the matter is, other people can get stuck in a moment. He has not been with this woman in 48 years. They was only married for a year, but obviously he is still stuck in that moment. Whatever that transpired between the two of them has resulted in a level of hate. He's a vile degenerate, but it has resulted in a level of hate where he has gotten stuck there. To go through the effort, because he lives in Jersey, he was driving to New York to do this on a daily basis.
But she didn't know what they were doing there for.
She was in the car.
Well,
for gas.
But she didn't know what they were going for.
He said
before gas prices went up, they were just out, you know.
Well, he said that they were driving there to take pictures of the sunrise every day.
At that particular cemetery, I guess the sun come up so beautiful right there where he go take his morning piss. He hold his morning piss, y'all. That's the only man.
Whole new meaning to a golden shower.
Well, yeah, but can y'all see now why I was thinking maybe he told his wife, we're going to New York every day to take pictures of the sunset.
No.
Okay.
We want the sun to shine on this bag of crap.
You go tell your wife every day y'all gonna ride up to the cemetery and take pictures of the same sunrise from the same vantage point.
Yeah.
And you tell us what she say to you.
Right. With a bag of crap in your car.
Because I bet you can't say it on the show.
Well, hopefully the legal consequences will fall upon her also. But let's talk about this being stuck a little bit further, because in thinking about this, obviously there's nothing about this that is not absolutely horrible. But when you think about how much this ex-wife has consumed him for 48 years, he thinks that he is getting whatever vengeance or whatever it is that he's getting out on her. But the truth of the matter is,
it was a relationship. It wasn't, but
right. And she's dead and gone. She's dead and gone on the glory. So ultimately, she's getting the last laugh because he's the one that has been stuck in a moment from 48 years ago. She moved on with her life. I believe
she moved on with her life. She was dead. So how she moved on with her life? She's dead.
Well, she ended up remarrying. Well, no. I think she only recently died. She lived a full life after whatever that 1 year of probably pure hell that they went through.
Oh no, wife. He should be past that shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's psychologically stuck, which means ultimately he may be pissing on her grave, but she obviously has a psychological hold on him, and he deserves to be tortured by whatever it is that has been torturing him for the past 48 years, to the point that he would go to the extent of pissing on her grave every day. He's the one suffering, not her.
He was probably pissing on her front porch.
The only person he has truly hurt is the daughter that he shares with her. He's trying to hurt her, but really he's hurting his own child because he's pissing.
That's why the sister made the brother promise not to jump on him. They'd have been mad at me because I'd have whooped his monkey ass. I'd have skull drove him all up and down that cemetery. And I would have called the police. I'd be like, yeah, look at my hands. I did it. Yeah. But yeah, but I got the shit. I got his ass on footage for the reason why I did that. We both going to jail. Throw us in the same cell. Throw us in the same cell.
You know what I'm really shocked about? I'm really shocked. This is what I'm shocked about, that neither Coleman or LV has said this point that I'm about to make. She must have had the best kitty cat for him to come around to do this.
Listen, I was gonna say that snapper will make you hold on for a little while.
And he missed it, obviously.
That's it. That snapper will get you, dog.
He done moved on to a whole new wife. He got a whole new family.
Yeah,
But he
sometimes you move on, but that snapper still have a hold.
Here's another reason. Speaking of the new wife,
you know how I feel about dead people, man. You can't be disrespecting the dead like that. I don't want funky ass.
He deserved a beat down for this. He did deserve a beat down.
Didn't give him a last run at that snapper though. You can't die. You know I'm still yearning. I'm still yearning
my
for
mother being that son and witnessing that shit. I would have done. I'm sorry. I promised y'all I wasn't gonna touch him. I just couldn't. I don't know what happened. You know, when I came to, he was a bloody mess, and then I called 911.
When I came through,
I blacked out. Here's another reason why I was thinking maybe he tried to lie to his current wife, because think about it also from this perspective.
Joe's really trying to milk this, because
most women.
There is no other fantasy Star Wars version.
Y'all got to let Captain Saberho talk. Go ahead, JP.
Look up in the sky.
A lot of women would have an issue with an ex-wife, even in death, having that much of a hold on her husband to the point that he's willing to drive from out of state to piss on her grave and leave baggies of crap.
And then hold on, and that traffic from New Jersey to New York that's not no little drive in the park. His wife knew what the fuck they was going to do.
This was a job.
Yeah, but to the extent, here's what I'm saying. For a woman in death to have that much of a hold on him, to the extent that he would hold on to whatever his hatred and other feelings are, and to leave his current wife waiting in the car while he's out doing this vile act, most women would say, okay, what the hell is the deal that you are still so hung up on this woman that you divorced 48 years ago? Like, I can understand him not wanting her to know, because it's kind of hard to tell your current wife that you are having any type of a connection to your ex-wife that you ain't seen in 48 years. So that's why I was like, did she know?
Gerald is really holding on to that therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
he's really trying to hold strong.
No, the chances are small that she didn't know.
She is not a victim. The only thing she might be a victim of is getting her ass whooped, and that's why she was in that car. Because she didn't want to get pissed on. Okay? She didn't want to get slapped with shit.
You have to protect her, Gerald. She is not a victim.
She is not a victim. Because in a minute, LV's going to call her one of our victims. All right.
Yeah, she is not a fucking victim. No.
During
that is
and after the
disrespect
fact
to your victims. Have more respect for your victims than to call that hoe a victim.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so officially, we just gonna call her and him a couple of foul bitches, which takes us to our next segment, today's perspective. All right, let me read this again before y'all jump on it. Y'all worked up tonight like hell. What y'all drink?
Last week LV was asleep. This week you got him wide awake.
I'm like,
please, I had a long day. I am a single dad. That's why I was late, everybody. My daughter had a field trip and the bus didn't get back to the school. It was supposed to be there at 8:30. Actually, they got there a little early. That's why I was here as early as I was. Because usually they don't show up to 8:45, damn near 8:50. But they were early today. So
we already assumed that you was handling daddy business. We know you handle your daddy business.
But I'm just saying, I can't I got some sleep last night. Hell, I slept at the Howard Johnson's.
Okay.
We ain't gonna ask no questions.
Right.
I remember when I was
but anyway.
I was in middle school. It was 7 degrees outside. We called my stepmother for a ride. She said, "Walk."
Times are changing, my friend.
They have definitely changed.
Many myself.
Times are changing. All right, so let's get to today's perspective. Because a bitch is a bitch is a bitch. Oh, I forgot one. Is a bitch. All right. I'll explain that later. What is your definition and application of the word bitch? Who and what is a bitch? And more importantly, can we actually call somebody that? Now, let's give a little background information for our viewers, because they like to know what goes on behind the scenes. We're discussing this because one of my wonderful, wonderful brothers, one of my alpha males, sent a video in our group text of a woman playing out her role as the female version of Kevin Samuels. In this video, she was degrading another woman based upon her profession, her income. She was a cashier, and her looks. And she was practically quoting Kevin Samuels in saying that this woman was basically too broken, too ugly to get a high quality man. My response to the video was
that the little
I wanted what?
You talking about the little high yellow girl that was do the show? Is that who you talking about?
She did a talk of another person. The original person does the show, but she did commentary because of the other video.
She did a TikTok duet, which is unsolicited.
But it was that little light skinned chick that did that, right?
Yes.
I know what you're talking about. Candace or some shit like that, ain't it?
Yes.
Something like that.
And so
but she on bullshit.
Go ahead, JP. Go ahead, JP.
He has so much in common with my radio show host.
I wonder if he knows her.
It's like I'm on the radio show right now. Okay, so my response to this was, I watched as much as I could stomach, and my response was that I wanted to tell her, bitch, shut the F up. Okay? At which point, the distinguished alpha male who sent the video immediately dropped the censorship bomb on me in text and let me know that we need to not refer to women out of their names. All right, so I'm going to.
If everybody can guess who was who.
Why don't we start with Johnny Quick? Johnny Quick, what's your definition of the word bitch, and how it can be applied, and if it should ever be applied to someone?
Of course, you would start with me first, so everybody can identify who said what. So, to say this, so since we come in all my years of living, I've never called a lady the B word. So we know who it was.
What you clapping for, Laverne?
So for me,
no,
I have an issue calling someone else out their names a lady outside her name. I take issue with that. Even And as we all know, I don't use profanity, so it's kind of hard for me to even to really interject on this show because I'm gonna always say the B word, and I won't actually say so. So for me to say who could use it, who's not could use it, it's kind of a misnomer for me. So I'm gonna allow y'all to have fun with it while I pay attention to the chat.
What's in the chat? What because we posted on our page yesterday of what the topic was going to be, and
Well,
there
well,
was a
well, hold on.
couple.
Well, hold on before we move to that because I think it's more than just um, John saying he doesn't use it. I think there's a story that goes around that. So it's not just about us saying, all right, we do or don't say it and have fun with it with the conversation. John, give us a little bit more background on why you don't use that in particular word and you don't use profanity. Talk a little bit about that. Give us a little bit of background. Give us a little bit more depth of why you do or don't do whatever you do from a linguistic standpoint.
Well, for me, growing up, I didn't use profanity in front of my mother, even when I got to a certain age. And I won't say I've never used profanity. Usually, when I use profanity, is when I'm pretty stressed and people are shocked to hear me use any type of profanity. And for me, is have a better way of using the English language to get my point across, and kind of was raised to say, or if you don't feel that you can actually debate, you bring out some profanity. That's for one aspect. Calling a lady outside her name is disrespectful for me because I look at that being disrespectful for my mother. Someone was to say something like that to my mother, like he was talking about he would skull drag a person, yeah, I pretty much would be at that level. And so if I feel that I'm gonna respect my mother like that and I treat females with respect, I think it would be for me be dishonest and just calling her outside her name, no matter how mad, how frustrated I get. I don't think I want to stoop to that level to call them outside their name. So I can have a debate, I can have your argument and use the language to make you feel like you are lowest to the ground without even calling you a B word, calling you a C word, whatever language we need to say. So for me to resort to that, it feels like I'm stooping to a different level where I could rise above and hit you higher from a higher level than stooping to the lower level to hit you below the belt.
All right, that Michelle Obama theory. When they go low, you go. I like that, John. I like that, man. I want to be you when I grow up. I do.
LV, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I had a song queued up, but I ain't gonna play it because we ain't got copyrights to be playing people's songs and
Right,
shit.
right. But we all pretty much know who it is.
Right. You know, uh in my adolescence, and even as an old gray ass man, I made a mistake and called a woman that was very important to me a bitch. And I'm still paying for it now. But I try not to use that word at all when it comes to a woman when I'm being serious or something. I'll never call a woman a bitch to her face. Now, I will admit, in the barbershop environment, maybe in just common conversation with close friends, we all throw out different things that aren't PC. Uh, in that arena, I mean, I really don't have a problem or issue using the word. I mean, then you have, some women, if you're engaged with them in certain practices that are kind of intimate, I mean, they may get off on you calling them that word in some variation, way, form, or fashion.
I like how you
But the,
dancing around just saying
but
sex.
the word, but
This
the
just
word,
got, this just got freaky.
the definition, but no, but the definition, the definition of the word is a female dog, and being a new pet owner, and I have a female dog. When you look on her pedigree and everything, when it lists for her mother, the mother is listed as the bitch, and then you have the father is listed as the sire. So in that terminology, if you're in the dog world and you're throwing the word bitch around, everyone knows you're talking about the female dog that you have. Be it you're in a show, showing the dog, or if you're a breeder and you're breeding dogs. So that, and technically speaking, that's the only way it probably should be used. But we as man done fucked everything up, and we do what the fuck we want, especially over here in America. Even if it's gonna fuck our health up, because we want to do the shit and say, I have the right to, if I want to die or not. Oh, stupid bullshit. But anyway, we won't get into that. But hey, do I say the word bitch? Yes. Do I say it to hurt or be mean in a derogatory form towards any personal individual? I would say 98.57956% of the time, no, I don't. If I allow somebody to take me out of myself and get me out of my character, and there is some type of verbal batter going, the word bitch may be thrown. And it's not always with women, because there are men that are bitches too. Okay, yeah. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
there's some men that they might as well be a motherfucking female dog. Because if for those that you don't know, a female dog has to squat to piss. And that's what them bitch ass motherfuckers really do. That's how weak they are. They squat to piss. Like I said, the 98th percentile of the time, I'm not in that zone. But if I was pushed to that zone, then that's when it would be enforced. So I mean, and like it's in a lot of songs, it like you got the rappers, they want to refer to women as a bitch. Because like I said, one of my favorite rap songs from back in the day, hey, what's my favorite word?
Chocolate chip.
No, sir. So I mean, and then you have, and I would say, as a person, if you're going to use that word, you have to be very cognizant of your audience, because if you know that you need to know the people that you're around. If that could offend them, then no, that word never should come out. It shouldn't be just flown around. And for those, when you have people that don't use the word out of respect for them, especially when they let you know, you need to adhere to that and kind of curb your vocabulary. Because I have another friend of mine. He doesn't use the N-word. And like me and him will be talking, I was saying, he like, oh bro, I don't use that word. I'm like, N-word, forget you. And then we really got to talking, and then he kind of got in my head. He was like, we're supposed to be educated black men, because
now, hold on, LV. We could do a whole other episode on the N-word.
Right, because that's why I didn't mention.
You want to go down the N-word?
I'm just using the reference for respecting somebody. And I'm saying, and the thing is, with him, whenever I would talk, I wouldn't say the N-word. I would say ninja. That was because that's what he used. That's what he would say, ninja. So, because he didn't want to say the N-word. So I would say ninja, or I wouldn't say nothing else. I conform, so I wouldn't offend that person. That's all I'm saying. Be cognizant of
Gerald's face.
Because y'all say the N-word around me all the time, and you have never heard me use the N-word. Why I can't get a ninja?
Until right now, I'm 8 years old.
I'm so foul in every other way that y'all didn't notice that I don't use the N-word.
I am today years old, knowing that it offends you to hear the N-word in conversations with you. So I will no longer use the N-word in our conversation.
No.
And I will replace it with ninja.
LV, I don't like for you to be censored.
No,
I'm okay. No. Despite the fact that I don't use the N-word, I am okay with people being their true authentic self. So no, I don't need you to be censored in any way. Now, with that said, I did apologize and I agreed to not call a woman a bitch in our group text in Johnny Quick's presence. Now, before I agreed, I did call that woman a hateful, vindictive, opportunistic bitch. And then I agreed to eliminate the word contingent upon Johnny Quick not sending us videos of women attacking vulnerable women because of their income or their looks. See, don't send me a video of somebody being a bitch and then I won't call them a bitch. So I agree with what you're saying, LV, that we have to be aware of our audience, and I'm going to be aware, and Johnny Quick won't be sending them videos, and I won't be calling those kind of people bitches.
I'll send you some so you can call them a bitch.
Because I'm immediately going to. That's why your timing coming in on that first segment was perfect. That bitch knew what he was doing.
Yeah, bitch knew. She was a bitch, America. That was a bitch.
And he was a bitch. All right, Coleman, what are your thoughts on this?
I find it very interesting because I think we all know that I may have the most colorful mouth in this group. Um, you know, I grew up in pool halls, whether we were talking about on Fifth Street or Seventh Street. You know, my daddy take me to the pool hall. I sit on the cooler, and I'm the one who pass people the beers when they come in to buy beers, and stuff like that. So I grew up around a lot of colorful speech, and for me,
Colorful
I'm
speech,
always
like that.
yeah. But for me, I'm a chameleon. You know what I mean? If I'm in a pool hall, I can cuss with the best of them. You get me in an intellectual setting, and I can have conversations at the highest level with the best of them. So for me, the language that one uses is not always indicative of their intellectual capacity or fluidity and ability to move and navigate various topics or debate. So I get what John was saying, and I respect his point of view, and I think it's good for him to hold that tight. I don't think that language is always predictive of a person's um,
Intellect.
intellectual ability to navigate intellectual conversations. Now, I don't know the definition of a bitch, to be honest with you, um, because depending on the environment that I'm in, the term changes. I've been in where, like LV said, we're about to get into it with somebody. If I know what's going down, you might get a bitch because I'm not worried about what I call you because it's about to go down. If I'm in a situation when we all chilling and we talking crazy, it's like, bitch, it's one of those in passing. I mean, it doesn't have that vigor to it. So I think the definition for me changes. Like many things in our community, we can take one word and it can have 15 different meanings depending on who you talking to, what the environment is, and all of these different things. So I don't really have a definition for it. Um, Now I also believe, because I got four sisters, we're really eight, but that's a long story. But I have four sisters that I grew up in the home with, and I'm very respectful of how they feel, and I would never say it around them. And it's just certain things that you don't do. So I get John's point in the respect for his mother and things of that nature. But again, I go with the time. I go with where I'm at. You know what I mean? And not that I let people change me, but at the same time, I'm pretty fluid based on my environment. And it was funny that John censored you on that because just maybe a couple of weeks before, Gerald had told me I was being mean because I said it about somebody. And
Well,
my
let me clarify.
yeah,
Let let
and it
me
was
let me clarify. Let me clarify. What I said was I was offended before. I said, but we can't call one and say that's foul and call the other foul. I said we need to do it across the board. So What you
Yeah.
what you did, that was wrong. But I said if that's the case,
We
we need
missed
to go
all
ahead and
that.
address it.
No,
Yeah.
but it
No.
was
We missed
interesting.
all that. Coleman got a free pass on calling my
No,
friend a
I-
bitch.
I
Who's
told him
not
that.
This was
He didn't
but
get a
this was the
free pass
thing.
because you flipped out.
But this was the thing.
Who's
This is
not?
what I found. This is what I found
Wait. Here we
interesting.
go.
Hold on, no, hold on. This is what I found interesting about it.
Okay, let's let Coleman speak.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The thing that I found interesting about it was that if you had called any of the brothers that we all know and said, man, Coleman said, or said somebody was a bitch, everybody would be like, okay.
And
It'd have been like, and get to the bad part of the story. And I'm not trying to rehash this whole thing. I'm using that as an example to say sometimes the word is not used to necessarily denigrate a person. Sometimes people use it just as another adjective. And I get that people don't like it. And I'm with Laverio. Okay, if that is something for you, I am going to be respectful of that. It's not censorship for me because my vocabulary is wide enough where I don't have to use the term. I do use it in certain environments, but I don't have to use it. So for me, it's not censorship, but it was just something that I thought was very interesting because one of the things that I believe is that whatever your language, I'm trying to understand the intent. I'm trying to understand how it's been applied. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me let this brother be who he is. Like you said, Jared, I want you to be your authentic self. And I think that's one of the things that as a show, we all try to do is respect the authenticity of one another. But I want you to be your authentic self. And then it's up to me to interpret what you mean. And then if I have an issue with it, I'm going to be like, yo, Gerald, let's step outside or, let's chop it up or whatever the case may be. But I think language is so fluid. I think the intent behind language has to be part of the interpretation of how the language is being used. And I also think that if I use it towards someone and I'm using it in a way where I am attacking them, it's usually that I'm attacking them. That I'm coming at them. And I don't typically do that in third person. If I'm attacking somebody with that word, it's usually one-on-one. I'm usually attacking you because I got an issue with you. If I'm using it in third person where somebody is removed, I'm not attacking them. I'm not trying to denigrate them. It's part of my language that I may have said, and I may have been upset at the time, but I'm not trying to attack them. Because once again, if I have an issue with a person, I'm more of I got an issue with you, So I think it all depends on how you use it, the environment, and all of those things. I don't have a set definition for the word.
And just for
I'm glad
clarification,
that you.
just for
You say what, John?
clarification, I was saying just for clarification, what it is I wanted us to be consistent because we can't. Because I know that's a part of your vocabulary, your way you communicate, and I got that, but we can't let one person fly with it and say this person. So I was like, let's just go across the board, make sure we cool. Then we all be on the same page because, as y'all know, I pretty much don't curse. Y'all curse up a storm, and I'm like, that's y'all. Y'all do what y'all do.
You
I'm
didn't
not
have
gonna
to add
change.
that
stop
part.
me from totally cursing. I'll
Okay,
never.
wait.
I know.
You can't censor, baby.
Yeah.
If you watch all of our previous shows,
hey, that's almost like telling me, okay, since Lil John don't drink, I ain't gonna drink around Lil John. That shit.
hold on a minute. And I'm actually
I'm gonna drink around Lil John.
viewers,
I'm gonna drink. I know it ain't no peer pressure on Lil John for me to drink around him. So I'm gonna drink around Lil John. So we can still have a good time if that's what I want to do.
Right.
I ain't gotta drink around Lil John.
Y'all do y'all. Okay, how about that?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you don't drink around him, but right now we talk about using the word bitch around him.
And
let me clarify this.
I respect this is just, I'm only saying it because this is what the show is about. But any other conversation with Lil John, I'm not using that word.
Okay. One, I'm rarely
rule out another one.
Anybody who watches these shows will see I am not cussing all the time. I'm cussing a lot in this episode because of what we are discussing. I got a 3-year-old, so I have been forced to eliminate profanity from my vocabulary 80% of the time. And even when my sons were still in the house, I never cuss in front of kids. I didn't cuss in front of my nephews. Now, I'm glad that Coleman brought up that incident that happened, because this is what was a learning experience, despite the fact that we have had a close relationship since 1990. When it comes to the word bitch, Coleman is right that it is about a person's intention. And so the reason why I asked for everybody's definition is because everybody may have a different relationship with the word bitch. Coleman has made it clear that he can say bitch in just free speech, and he is not necessarily attacking someone, or if he's pissed and they a bitch, he's calling them a bitch. Me, if I call somebody a bitch, they're being a bitch. Now, with that said, you would not be able to find a single woman on this planet that would be able to say that I ever called them a bitch in anger or jokingly. When I called this woman a bitch, she presented herself as a media personality and put herself in a position where she was attacking what I view to be a vulnerable person based upon their career, their income, and their looks. And anybody who knows me, if I see you attacking someone who I think is vulnerable, I'm going to have a reaction to that. She was being a bitch. Now, here's something to take a look at. Because I asked y'all for your definition of the word bitch. I'm going to give some definitions. And mind you, these are definitions from 5 different dictionaries, okay? Y'all said the definition of a bitch is a female dog or a fox.
Hold on, JP. Before you read all those definitions.
Oh, they're all basically the same.
Right. But before you read those, Lil John, let Lil John read the comments we had so we can let those go out. And then I want you to hit with that because you're going to tell every dictionary you got it from.
He don't have Urban Dictionary. I can tell you that right now.
No, I'm talking Oxford, Webster. No,
yeah, right. We know.
I didn't do the Urban Dictionary because when I'm trying to prove a point, I'm not going to leave room
what you trying to say?
Discredited.
What you trying to say about the Urban Dictionary?
That he would discredit my definition of the Urban Dictionary, so I can use it.
I take offense to you trying to say something derogatory about the Urban Dictionary.
No, I'm not saying anything derogatory about the Urban Dictionary. What I'm saying is,
I don't know how I can twist your words because
here's what I'm saying. I went all the way back because I wanted to prove the Urban Dictionary wasn't
around. Okay, go ahead, Lil John. I ain't
okay. Thank you.
Some of the comments said only time that, and this is from a lady viewer, said the only time it's acceptable is from her lover when they have an intimate moment. Another person said a female dog, wolf, fox, or otter. Yeah,
an otter.
Thank you. I couldn't say the word. And then another person said, I am not fond of the word at all. Don't want my girlfriends to call me that, nor a dude. So they don't even, because I've also heard that kind of comments like, it's all right for a female to call another female the B word. And this one said, no, that's not okay with me either.
Because to me, that's a crock of shit. That's just like us as black people telling somebody outside of our race, you can't use the N-word. That ain't no excuse to use it. That ain't no excuse to use it. And that's what I'm saying. He's using that excuse.
Right.
Right. Just like we won't.
No,
Okay.
but that's not.
Is
that's
that-
not a just-
Is that
but that's
all
not
of
a
the
justi-
comments?
But that's not a
Yes.
justification.
Okay.
Telling somebody else they can't use it when I use it is not a justification for using it. That's
Right,
saying this
that's
is
what
off
I'm
limits
saying,
to
right.
you. But it's saying that's off limits to you because of how you appropriated it.
Right.
That's two totally different things.
No, but no, just like women that call their girl bitch, you know, they home girl bitch, is just like you know, you and I, if we said the N-word to the other one, it wouldn't be perceived in a threatening manner whatsoever.
Right.
So
But what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is, but what I'm saying is,
a white
but what I'm
person
saying
can't hear
is-
us say it and say it's okay to say it. So a man can't hear women say that and say it's okay to say it to them. That's what I'm saying.
and what I'm saying is I disagree. Because the same reason that people use the N-word towards one another is because they say they're trying to take back their power and they will not let a word define them or race. And so
Right.
you can't use it because the way that you're using it, you're trying to denigrate me. I'm using it because I'm taking that power from you and I'm using it within my community to empower them and to empower the word. It is the same way that women will say, you know what? You have used the term bitch towards us for so long to denigrate us. We are going to take control. And if another, it's okay, but you can't use it because of the way you're using it. That is
And you know what?
To
They're
me-
doing that with the word.
it's the same. But what I'm saying is we can't look at it and say, all right, well, it shouldn't be okay for them if they are trying to take back their power.
Right.
Regardless if you think
I'm
it's
not saying it
they're
shouldn't
doing
be
it the
okay
right
for
way.
them. I'm not saying it shouldn't be okay for them, no.
What
I'm
are
just
we
saying
saying?
we as men,
All right.
I'm just saying
All
we
right.
as men can't say that's a reason to use it.
To his definition.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay. Now, I want y'all to try to let me get through this without jumping in, okay?
No,
No.
it's all you. Spotlights
All
on
you.
you. Hey, we the crack our hairs at this moment.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, y'all are correct. Yes, y'all are correct that the definition of a
comes to
bitch
you,
is a
Otis.
female.
Go ahead. Keep continue.
Yes, y'all are correct that the definition of a bitch is a female dog, a fox, a otter. But according to the dictionaries, going all the way back to the years 1400, a bitch was a malicious or unpleasant woman. It was first found in the Chester plays in the 1400s. Quote, "Who are you calling a whore, you miserable bitch?" They had good writing back then. Okay. A spiteful,
Hold on, you
unpleasant.
said it was 14.
LV!
He asked you the year. That's all he asked you.
I said
The
14.
1400s, 13th century.
Okay.
The Chester plays were in existence in the 1400s. A spiteful, unpleasant, or disliked woman, a difficult or unpleasant situation or thing, a despicable or disagreeable, aggressive person, often female, but not necessarily so. A malicious, unpleasant, selfish person, especially a woman, and last but not least, a female jerk. So here's my point.
Can I
That
add one?
woman was assaulting another woman, giving unsolicited advice because the woman that she was degrading was not a woman who had asked her for her opinion. She duetted that video. According to these definitions that go back from the 1400s right up into current, she was being a bitch. And I called her one. And furthermore, my point is, I called her a bitch for pulling a Kevin Samuels, but when I called Kevin Samuels a misogynistic bitch, nobody had a complaint about that. I call people bitches indiscriminately, whether they be male or female, if they have put themselves in a position where they are acting like a bitch. And I got the dictionary to support my definition. My question is, why was it okay when I called Kevin Samuels a misogynistic bitch, among other things that I tend to call him. But when I called his protege a bitch, it was a problem. I'm never going to understand that.
I had a problem
Who
with both
said it
of
was a
them.
problem?
I had a
But
problem
you
with
didn't
both
say
of them.
anything when I called Kevin Samuels a misogynistic bitch.
Well,
Why
this
did
is what.
Kevin Samuels, why does a man get a pass on being called a bitch, but a woman doesn't get a pass?
I didn't give him a pass.
Like, it was okay to call Kevin Samuels a bitch, but a woman who was basically quoting him and who meets a definition that goes all the way back to the 1400s,
Well, he
it
did some
wasn't okay to
research
call
to
her a
find
bitch.
out. For me,
Defend your point, Lil John.
I had a problem with all of it. Got to a point where it's like y'all, it's like chocolate fingernails on a chalkboard now because y'all have used it so much, and I'm just sitting over here just screeching, and I'm like, oh, we just gonna keep going, we gonna keep going, we gonna keep going, just to make this point, we gonna keep going, and so we've had well, I've had a problem from the beginning. It's just that at some point I'm like, you know what? Can we just stop? That's male or female. Can we just stop? And so
See,
that's for me.
I don't think we use that word a whole lot, but I know that when I have called somebody a bitch, they're being a bitch. And the only time that I have had a problem with somebody being called a bitch was when my friend was being called a bitch because I didn't feel like she was being a bitch. Now, Coleman explained that it wasn't his intent. He wasn't calling her a bitch according to these definitions from the
No.
dictionary, right?
And
And
right.
and that made sense to me, but it just doesn't make sense that I hear you that you had a problem with Kevin Samuels being called a bitch, but you kind of didn't say anything until
Well,
I called his protege a
no.
bitch.
What started it was when your friend was called, and I addressed it with individuals, and I didn't bring it to everyone's attention. So when I addressed it individually, and I said, "Hey, you know what? I'll hold everybody accountable." And so when
Okay,
you did it, then that's the whole
so you must have pulled
accountable.
Coleman aside. Okay, I wasn't aware
He
that
was supposed to
you
be.
addressed that with him, but I still stand by my agreement to not use the term, but y'all know me well enough to know I'm going to go out with a bang. I'm going to prove my point that according to the dictionary, that woman was a bitch and she is a bitch. I'm agreeing not to refer to her as such in our group text, but a bitch is a bitch. I
Hey,
think,
that's what that dude said in that song.
all right. I think we're good here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Continue to give us your comments on this. We will review your comments. We will respond to your comments. But on that note, we're out.